All right, Libra. Hello. Welcome to your monthly reading for October. Um, actually, to be honest with you, it's timeless. And I have a channel message for you guys because I wanted to do your reading first. Happy birthday. All right. Not to sound lackluster, but it's been a bit of an interesting morning. And that's part of your channel message. So whenever you find this reading, Libra, there may be some messages here for you. All I ask is that number one, you like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. Number two, don't bring anything into your life that doesn't belong. And number three, go with what you know, okay? All right. Anything you need to know is going to be below in the description box, but I kid you not. When I sat down, it's 10:55 a.m., September 29th, Monday, September 29th, 2025 at 10:55 a.m. I sat down at around, I would say like 10:10, maybe 10:15 to do your readings, right? Because I need to get the monthly readings done. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do Libra first. As soon as I sit down to do your reading, I had the ring light on. I was about to light the candle. I was about to, light the sage and say the prayer and whatnot to get everything going. All of a sudden, my TV, my automatic water dispenser for the cats, and my ring light just go choo, like the power went out. And there have been some issues with power outages like in my area where I live lately, so I didn't correlate that the power people, the Georgia power truck was outside. So I'm just thinking that they out there doing stuff because it's trucks that constantly go through here. Either there, are big buses that go through for the kids. There's UPS, FedEx trucks, delivery trucks. There's garbage trucks. And sometimes there's just like workers, utility workers. So I didn't think I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't think that they were going to like cut off the power. Because I wasn't aware that it was a power truck. I just thought it was some other truck. But I realized it was a power truck, and I realized once the power went out, I looked out there and saw what they were doing, and I was like, oh my God. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what am I going to do, because I got up this morning. I have made certain resolutions about the upcoming season, the last quarter of this year. And it just seems like every time I make resolutions to do something or I resolve to do something, the universe, I don't know what you want to call it, whatever forces are at play, throw a bunch of wrenches at me at the same time. And they basically metaphorically say, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Okay? If y'all have not seen Dodgeball, you're missing out. Shout out to all my millennials. But I'm like, okay, universe, God, source, spirit. I don't know if that's you. I don't know if it's a trickster energy. I don't know if it's just me being tested to see if I'm going to have strong resolve within myself about the commitments I make. But I see what you're doing, right? You're throwing the wrenches at me now that I've made certain commitments to see if I'm serious about it, to see if I'm actually going to do it, to see if I'm going to stick to my guns and really, hunker down. And I was like, this is not going to break me. This is not going to break me. I'm going to remain calm and not be frustrated, because it's like hard to explain, but every single time I start to do something and I really get into a good groove and I feel the momentum, it's like there's always something or someone who breaks my stride. And I'm just so tired of that. And I'm not sharing this with you guys to like dump on you or rant about it. But it's interesting that I didn't decide to do a collective reading first. Oh, the Hermit reversed. The whole deck is upside down. Interesting. But I didn't decide to do a collective reading first. I didn't decide to do any Pisces readings for the other channel. I decided to do the zodiac sign readings today and get them over with. And it really pissed me off that the power went off as soon as I got ready to do all of this. Because I woke up, this morning The kids got off to school. They got on the bus. I actually did yoga for the first time in a long time because I have not been sticking to my things that I like to do. So I did yoga for the first time in a long time. I downloaded this new program, this new workout program to help me with like calisthenics and stuff. And I know I can do this stuff for free with people online, but just having that like checkbook that I can mark off to see my progress is helpful. So I actually did that. I did the morning routine, and then I got in the shower and like exfoliated and moisturized, and I was just ready for the day. I was ready to start working. And then as soon as I sit down, I even got my coffee. I made some toast this morning, sat down, and it was like do. Power's gone, right? So what I feel for a lot of you guys, Libra, especially if you can kind of relate to this kind of sentiment in your life, or if you may feel like something like this is going on, I think some of you guys are definitely losing power in a certain situation, right? And, you know, I'm not trying to box all of you Libras together because all of you guys are not, you know, the same, okay? Some Libras are, you know, having an issue and some are not. If you're watching this reading and you're a cross watcher, just understand that because we're in Libra season, there could be a variety of messages that come out. If you're a Libra, understand that as well. There could be a variety of messages that come out that may not necessarily put you or your sign in the most favorable light. And that's for every zodiac sign. But since we're in Libra season, I feel like this message may relate a lot with the collective and what people are experiencing, but also with Libras in general. And I feel that there's this possible feeling of like being drained or being stripped of your authority, being stripped of your credentials, having it feels like your power be taken away in a situation, or feeling powerless possibly in a situation. Some of you guys may be dealing with literal power outages or like rolling blackouts. But when I tell you, like y'all saw me with the cards, there's 2 decks over here. I literally turned on all my lights, had everything set up. I had my little timer here set up for, you know, trying to keep up with time management on my laptop. I had the breakdown of like the type of reading I'm going to do for everybody for the monthlies, which is the 4 corners reading. And it's going to be 1 corner is self and identity, 1 corner is career and money, 1 corner is love and relationships, and the other corner finally is the hidden realms. Okay? Everything was ready. All my cards are ready. I got my advice cards out here. I got the oracle cards I want to use. I got the tarot deck I want to use. And here I go about to set it up, and do. Power goes out. So if you guys are in a big city, you might experience some type of rolling blackouts. If you guys are maybe in a rural country neighborhood, you could experience some type of power outages as well. Just make sure you guys have flashlights, batteries for your flashlights, maybe an external power source if you can, some type of generator depending on your situation, and candles if all else fails, candles and matches, lighters, whatever, just so that you can kind of, you know, keep yourself as illuminated as possible, because there could be someone who's trying to put you in darkness or trying to take your power away so that you feel like you're in some type of like darkness and can't navigate. But for some of you guys, Libra, honestly, there could be a situation where spirit is putting you in a place where your power is being taken away because of something that you may have done. If you're a cross watcher, this may be a situation where a Libra did something to you that you feel like was heinous and their power is being taken away. Some of you Libras may be in a situation where someone is trying to take your power away because they want to create some type of chaos in your life or do something heinous. And when I say heinous, I mean like someone who's overreaching, someone who is controlling, someone who is using their power for bad things, or, you know, exerting their power and dominance over people to lord over people and control them in a kind of like imbalanced, abusive way. And I don't know exactly how to explain this because some of you may be offended, but it just feels like there's this energy that is negative or kind of challenging, I will say, coming through for Libra. All right. So just brace yourselves. And that's why I say, like, flashlights, batteries, generators, backup generators, candles, matches, lighters, whatever you can do to brace yourself for what's about to happen. I would definitely suggest to try to do your best to do that. I also would suggest not to be scared, but to be prepared. You feel me? Because that's all I say all the time. And I really do feel like there's this power being removed from Libra, but the lights are back on now. Okay, we're doing the reading. I was trying to figure out a way maybe to use a different light source to do the reading so it wouldn't be super dark. But then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, well, my mic isn't going to work and it's possibly going to sound janky and I'm not going to like it. And I just had to surrender to the fact that my power was going to be out for about 30 to 45 minutes. I say all that to say, you know, you guys, like, even if you're in a situation as a Libra where you may not feel like it's fair, or you may not feel like you did anything wrong, but you're being punished for something that maybe someone else did, or you're being punished for something that maybe someone tried to get you caught up in. Just do not be scared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Ride out the storm, even if you're dealing with a natural type of storm, like you may be in line to experience some of the effects of the hurricane that's happening down in Florida. But just hunker down. The power will be restored. But what they were doing on the light pole was very interesting. They were using copper and whatever this contraption is, because I was watching them. Listen, I be nosy. I want to see what's going on. So I was watching. Well, I'm not really nosy. I'm just curious and inquisitive. Let's be positive about our speech. I was curious and inquisitive about what they were doing. And he, like, attached this contraption to the light pole because there was, like, a fuse that blew. And we've been having issues in the house with our electricity, like, with the lights flickering and stuff like that. So he installed this, like, contraption, this metal thing with these two little, like, metal pillars, and they have, like, these little balls on the end of them, kind of like looking like a bottom part of a water bottle or something. And then he put this little there's like these copper things coming out of it. What I feel, Libra, is that if you're in a situation where you guys are dealing with some type of setbacks that you feel are happening, or you feel like your power's been removed, or maybe you lose your job, God forbid. If there's anything going on where you feel like you're powerless in a situation, I feel like Spirit, first of all, wants you to surrender. They don't want you to try to figure out how to get your power back. They don't want you to try to finagle the system and, for lack of a better word, nigga rig shit together to get your power back. They don't want you to go plug in to your neighbor's outside outlets with an extension cord just to power your situation. They don't want you to do that, because if you do, that's going to backfire. I'm warning you, that's going to backfire. What you need to know is that your power is going to be restored, but you have to find a new channel. You have to find a new vessel. You have to create some type of invention or contraption that channels your power in a more economical, more balanced, more efficient way. What I feel like Spirit is saying is, like, for example, if you've been involved in situations and you feel like your power is removed, it may be because you need to go get another hobby. You need to hang out with different people. It's like they want you to channel your energy into something more productive, or into something more aligned with what it is that you want to do, or who it is that you are, or they kind of want you to align with something that's more ethical. I don't know what's going on in your situation, but there's something unethical. And if you're innocent and you don't know what's going on, but you resonate with what I'm saying and you feel as if you're powerless, this is how you get your power back. You have to surrender to what's going on and just accept the fact that even if it's not you, you may be dealing with some questionable people, and you need to handle that. to rectify the situation, and then spirit is basically saying your power is going to be restored. So I know that was a long intro, you guys. Thank you so much, but that was a channel message for Libra. Everybody may not get one. It's okay. Y'all be sure to like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. Guardian angels, archangels, spirit guides, and ancestors of the highest vibration, Father, Mother, God, for Libra. When it comes to the messages for the month, this is their monthly reading, spirit. What is it that they need to know? Okay, so you have self and identity, Wheel of Fortune, okay. Career and money, Page of Pentacles. Love and relationships, the Nine of Wands. And the hidden realms is the Nine of Swords. So September, very significant. Some of you guys, happy birthday though. Shout out to y'all. Some of you guys had your birthday in September, maybe already, maybe it's coming up. But September is very significant for you guys. Virgo could be significant. Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo. Possibly also Sagittarius and Capricorn. Some of you guys, Gemini as well. Underneath the surface in your subconscious, you guys are really worried and anxious and nervous about something happening that you really would prefer not to happen. With the Nine of Wands, you guys are in a position where, yeah, I feel like some of you could even be in some type of abusive relationship with the Nine of Wands and the Four of Wands. There's something about a home life situation, possibly fourth house situation, something with your home, your marriage, your family, your relationships that is not necessarily going in the best direction. Okay. Some of you guys could also be attempting to accomplish a goal in your life right now, and you're very focused on accomplishing that goal. But things keep happening that kind of like make you question whether or not you're on the right path. I feel like things can get a little hectic sometimes for you in this situation, whatever it is that you're doing, and it makes you like question what's right for you to do or not. I feel like you're dealing with a lot of arguments and fights in your home. Like somebody is fighting with you, or people who you live with are fighting with each other. These two nines are the worst nines that you could have, because the other two are Nine of Pentacles and the Nine of Cups. It's 11:11 right now on the clock. I feel like some of you guys are possibly a little nervous or intimidated, scared, maybe even anxious, fearful, possibly even feeling a little bit of shame from like something that's going on. But it may not be because, again, it may not be because of your actions. It could be because of the people who you're surrounding yourself with, the relationships that you have. I feel like these are the things, whatever you would consist of, whatever you would think of when you think of the Four of Wands, whatever the Four of Wands consists of, marriage, relationships, parties, festivals, carnivals, outdoor activities, parks, recreational situations, friendships, like anything that you could think of with the Four of Wands, accomplishing goals, maybe even having a very passionate connection to your spirit guides, to your ancestors, like, even trees, hell. But what is showing me is that these relationships or these connections or these aspects of your life are in a very precarious place. They're not necessarily in the best place. And that's what's causing an issue with you when it comes to being able to accomplish the goals that you have or see things through. When it comes to yourself and your identity with this Wheel of Fortune, it definitely feels like you may be flip-flopping as far as how you feel about yourself. Like 1 minute you may be very motivated and confident, and then the next minute you may be feeling very down and depressed. It's kind of like shifty. Okay. You could feel like you have been very lucky, or that you are very lucky in a situation, but it kind of feels like in your subconscious mind, you know that there's something that needs to change, because even though you've been very lucky or fortunate, it's kind of like there's some type of shame or guilt associated with the fact that you've been very lucky in a situation, which means like, okay, just for example, it kind of feels like if you always drive and you don't wear a seatbelt, and you've been very lucky not to get into an accident, you know that you need to change something about that, because God forbid, if you were to get in an accident, you wouldn't want to fly head first through the windshield. You get what I'm saying? So it's like there's this guilt associated with, like, you know, slipping through by the skin of your teeth, skating by. You know, there's this possible, you know, anxiety, sleepless nights that you could be feeling. Like there's something that's stressing you out because it's like it's on your mind and you're not at peace with it. So that's why it keeps you up at night. And it's probably a little bit of fear, a little bit of shame, a little bit of guilt, and maybe a sprinkle of anxiety. And it's probably because of something that you know could quickly turn around and not be in your favor. And you've just been kind of feeling like you've been lucky because it has been in your favor. But at the flip of a coin, things could turn around and change. So I feel like that's why you may feel this kind of, it almost feels like a burden, because the Nine of Wands is here. It feels like a heavy burden, but like it's not quite become a burden yet. But it's also very like intimidating and foreboding, and it's like walking up to a tall building and looking up to the top. It looks intimidating because it's such a large structure. Or, you know, maybe as a kid, you know, when you get in trouble and you know your parents might whoop you, you come home and you look down at the floor and your parent is like, look at me, and you're scared because you got to look up at them. That's kind of what that feels like when it comes to that energy. And it's specifically in your relationship section, but we'll get there, okay? Career and money, Page of Pentacles. Honestly, with the Page of Pentacles, it looks good. You could be getting some type of good news. You could be getting a small job that you can complete fairly easily and inexpensively. Something that you can do to get, I don't want to say it's quick money, but it feels like this is the start to something that could grow into something bigger. So if you were to accept a temp job, it wouldn't be very difficult for you to start this job because you already have the right outfit. You already have the right uniform. If they tell you to come in black pants or cargo pants, you already have those at home. You have work pants, you have work shoes. All you got to do is get the gas in your car and show up. You get what I'm saying? That's kind of what this feels like. It feels like an opportunity that's not very difficult for you to complete, but that can put your foot in the door for something greater or some type of good news that's coming in about what could happen in the future with your career, okay? Now, with your relationships, though, this Nine of Wands, I don't like that. So I don't know if some of you guys are, I don't know. If you're getting beat up, you got to make the decisions to figure out what you're going to do to deal with that, okay? Because shouldn't nobody be putting hands and feet on you, and you know it. Nine of Swords. Shouldn't nobody be abusing you, and you know it. Nine of Wands. So if that's going on and you're in an abusive relationship, then that's on you. Okay, y'all are making accomplishments in your career and your business, or with money. You're reaching goals. You may be reaching a savings goal that you have. Okay. I feel like you guys are feeling very motivated about what you can do. But this relationship thing, this love and relationships, it could even be personal relationships, platonic relationships, professional relationships. But whatever these relationships are that are going on in your life, it's like you've been trying over and over and over again to get something to work, and it's just exhausting. And I feel like you guys are tired of trying to make something work, because it's like you and someone else keep arguing. There's always these fights. There could be some type of deep-seated competition. Somebody could be very aggressive, very abrasive, and possibly very abusive. And I just don't think that it just feels like you've tried to make this work so many times, but someone is against making it work, okay? And basically for the hidden realms, which is your subconscious, or maybe things that you don't see, aspects of your situation this month that you may not see, it feels like you guys can sense that these personal relationships, or this competition that someone may have with you, this animosity someone feels towards you, or this entitlement that someone feels to basically walk all over you, in a sense, is gonna cause a problem. It's like in your subconscious, you're afraid of the worst happening. In your subconscious, you are concerned about the worst possible scenario becoming reality, right? You know how people say prepare for the worst, hope for the best? It's like in your subconscious mind, you're very anxious and nervous, possibly scared, stressed, because you are worried about the worst possible outcome happening in your situation. And that's what's causing there to be some type of, it feels like tension when it comes to this month. There's definitely some changes taking place that I feel like bring some good news, but also are a little scary for you guys, okay? With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Nine of Cups. Look at all these nines and the Eight of Cups. You could be dealing with a Pisces with the Eight of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Excuse me. I feel like you guys are walking away from something that you feel like you've been settling for. You're tired of settling. You're tired of settling. You could be gambling, or you could feel like luck is on your side because you feel blessed and grateful for the opportunity that you had. But it's like you could be leaving on good terms. You could be quitting a job or turning in your resignation, giving your 2 weeks notice. But you're leaving on good terms, or you're at least attempting to leave a situation on good terms. And you don't know what's in the future or where you're going, but you are desiring for the outcome to be pleasant. You want everything to work out. You feel like this is a change that's necessary or something that you need to do to basically move closer towards what you want in your life, to be able to accomplish your goals. You are personally, when it comes to the way you view yourself or how you feel about yourself this month, you're personally feeling, I feel, motivated and energized. Okay, you guys got to just ignore that man. He out here bright and early every day. Not every day, but he happens to show up exactly when it's the most inconvenient. And you see how this is going down. That's why I told you guys the channel message earlier. I wasn't trying to drag it out, but it's honestly like, it really feels like, Libra, a lot of the things that you want in your life are going to require for you to be very disciplined, even though we kind of don't see that. It feels like an overarching energy for the month of, like, the rest of September and October during Libra season, the rest of Libra season. It feels like there's a need to be very disciplined and determined when it comes to what you're able to accomplish. I feel like you have to do something on your own because we have the Nine of Cups, Wands, and Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles is the only one missing. It's like you have what it takes to do something on your own. You have the skills, you have the training, you have the experience, you have the, born gifts that you got at birth from your ancestors to be able to do whatever this is. And I feel like you want to leave a situation behind because things are changing and it's time for something different to be done. Now, when it comes to your career, oh my God, you guys are dealing with a Pisces, or you have a strong Pisces placement. What in the heck? So you could be a Pisces rising if you're a Libra sun. Some of you could be I don't know. There's a strong Pisces energy here with the High Priestess, Queen of Cups, Eight of Cups, Nine of Cups. When it comes to your career, and like money, you could be hiding money. You could be hiding some type of good news, wealth. Okay. You could be being very mysterious about what it is that you do for work. Maybe when you meet new people, you don't really tell them what you do for work because it has the potential to make people possibly look at you a certain way. Like when I meet people, I don't tell everybody that I read cards because everybody's not mature enough to understand that. Because when I do find someone who's immature and they find out I read cards, they act stupid. And I explained that in a reading recently. I was at a party a birthday party a few weeks ago, and this dude found out that I read cards, and everybody else who I told that too, they were like, "Oh, cool, cool," asking me about it. How does it feel? Like, trying to get like the curiosity out from me to see like kind of what more it's about, because they were just curious and it was kind of mysterious. But this one dude, very ignorant, just kept drilling me and drilling me and drilling me. Well, why do you do that? And what is this about? And you don't believe in God? And da 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 da. And I'm just like, that's why you can't tell everybody your business, because they just don't understand, and they just try to make it a big thing because, that's the ego, that's the pride, that's the ignorance, that's the stupidity. And I just feel like you guys have something good going on right now with your career, or you have some type of potential to increase your earnings possibly. And I feel like you're keeping it a secret because not everybody needs to know. Okay. With the 9 of Wands, you have the Temperance and the 7 of Swords. Strong Sagittarius energy when it comes to your relationship, love, or relationships in general. You could be a little bit tired of dealing with somebody's shenanigans, because I feel like there's a person here who is very sneaky. They're very deceitful. They're very crafty. They're very clever. They try to keep things from you so you don't have the information that you really need, but you can still sense what's going on. It's like this person is not skilled enough to completely erase what it is that they're doing, so you know that they're doing something, or you can feel like they're doing something, but they're also smart enough to where you can't prove it, right? It's like a lazy criminal. This is a lazy criminal. This is somebody who doesn't care enough to hide all of the evidence, but they hide enough to where you can't really figure out what they're doing, or you don't really know what's going on, or there's no way for you to clearly prove or pinpoint what you feel is going on, but you're tired of this over and over again. I also feel like somebody has been trying to divert your attention away from what you're doing or distract you for a very long time. Okay. I feel like Spirit is involved in a situation when it comes to love or relationships in your life. You may have been trying to get away from someone for a long time, sneak away from someone for a long time, escape someone's behavior or escape their clutches for a very long time. You may be confiding in a Pisces or some type of reader, spiritual practitioner for assistance with this for some reason. That's why you could be hiding money or like being very secretive about your career, because I feel like you don't want this person, whoever this is, to know that you've accomplished some type of goal. I feel like you see some type of potential in a Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, strong Pisces, and you don't want whoever this is around you or other people around you to necessarily know the extent of the involvement that you may have with different people in your life who I feel like you're possibly enlisting to help you. I feel like something has happened over and over again in your relationships or in your love life. And I feel like you're trying to figure out a strategy of how to balance that out. Like if you're not dealing with someone specifically who's deceitful, who's a liar, who's a cheater, who's a thief, you could be tired of dealing with these types of people. And you're trying to figure out how to blend together like your desire to have some type of excitement in your relationships, but also have boundaries and like, I don't know. It's very strange. You could be planning on making something right or balancing something out with a person here who you feel like the situation has not gone well up until now. You could be planning on trying to do something to balance this situation out, even though it's kind of scary for you. This could also be a situation where you're strategizing on how you can get away from someone, because no matter how much you try to balance the situation out, they still act very like deceitful and you know, they do these sneaky things to betray you and keep you in the dark and keep you confused and kind of like put you in a situation where you're constantly distracted by their stupid antics. Like, that could be a situation that's going on where you're trying to get away from this person. Now, with the hidden realms, okay, Two of Cups is coming out with the Nine of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So there's some type of communication that you've had here with the Gemini strongly, possibly another Libra and Aquarius, or a Scorpio. Strong Gemini or Scorpio energy. You had a conversation with someone that's keeping you up at night. There was something that a person told you or communicated to you that has you very nervous, anxious, scared, worried. It's keeping you up at night. It's stressing you out in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if this was your brother, because with Knight of Swords, Two of Cups, this could be your brother who you spoke to, your sister who you spoke to. It could be a sibling. It could be a friend. It's somebody platonic that stresses you out. And I feel like you spoke to this person recently, and it's like whatever the conversation was about or whatever this person told you that is what's stressing you out. That's what's preventing you from sleeping at night this month. Okay? What is the main situation? The Seven of Wands. So you're trying to protect yourself. You're attempting to keep your position where it is, right? But it's like I was saying earlier, when it comes to your identity, when it comes to self and how you're going to be feeling about yourself this month, it feels like there's a situation where it's like you keep going into something kind of blind, okay, with the Eight of Cups, and you end up getting lucky, or you end up having some type of blessing, Ace of Cups energy that happens, Wheel of Fortune energy. And it's like you keep going into something blind, or you keep going into something again because you're not satisfied with how it's turning out, but you keep getting lucky when it comes to the way that things shift or change. But it's like you're kind of nervous or anxious because you know that it's not going to always be like that. It's like going to the casino and playing the slot machines. You keep putting a coin in and you win and you win and you win and you win. And this is amazing because you just keep winning. But in the back of your mind, you know at some point or another, you're going to lose. And I think like it's kind of like also like going into plastic surgery. You keep getting good results, but you don't stop. I kind of feel like there's this need to stop, because if you don't, that's where that channel message of spirit shutting off the power is going to come in, because you aren't stopping. Okay, there's something you need to stop doing, or there's something that you need to put down. This could be a vice. This could be this could be alcohol with the Nine of Cups and the Eight of Cups. You could be drinking way too much, and you could see your actual face and body and your physical self changing, or how you feel changing, or the mood swings caused by, what is that called? When you quit cold turkey? Withdrawal. You could see the effects of that. Okay, some of you guys could be quitting alcohol or quitting some type of substance, and you may be going through a lot of changes this month. Okay, but it kind of feels like spirit is like, okay, you've gotten lucky. Your luck might be about to run out if you're not careful. Okay, and if you're dealing with someone who's been, doing things towards you that are very dastardly and negative, I think with the Temperance card, it's kind of like, now it's like you're putting up a boundary, or you're putting your foot down, and I think that could be balancing the scales in a way for whatever is kind of going on. So, I don't know if it's your luck running out or someone else's luck running out, but I feel like if a person here is not careful, their luck is about to run out. And you don't want that to be you. Seven of Wands is you trying to defend your position. You trying to fend off any aggressors. You trying to protect yourself. You have the Three of Cups and the Strength card. That's the situation. So you could be dealing with a Leo who you're friends with, or you have some type of positive connection with this Leo energy, possibly Cancer. You could have Leo in your chart. I feel like there's also, like, again, This need to persevere, I said it earlier. This need to be brave, strong, courageous. And if you do, and you like block out these urges or desires to like go back to an abusive person or to pick up a substance, you know, whatever it is that keeps you in this place where you want to drown out the noise in your mind, if you can be strong and push against it, or at least face it and look the devil in the face and call it by its name, I feel like you will be protecting yourself from some type of danger in a way where you'll be able to defend your position. Okay. The advice from Spirit is the Page of Swords. So there could be some way through education that you could learn something to help you in these situations. You may want to be a little bit curious or inquisitive yourself about what it is that you can do to help get out of a situation, specifically with your love life and relationships. I feel like you've spent so much time and energy trying to escape an abuser or protect yourself from somebody's behavior that it's like you spent so much time doing that you've like gotten off track with what you're meant to be doing in your own life. And that could be calculated. I feel like that's what whoever that person is trying to do, that's their goal, is to distract you from what you really should be focusing on. It is to stress you out so that you can't sleep at night, And I feel like Spirit's advice to you is to walk towards the door of clarity with this Ace of Swords. Well, it's the Page of Swords, but it's the smallest version of the swords court cards, right? You have the Page of Pentacles here, you have the Knight of Swords there, right? Take these new ideas and be curious. Ask questions, do research, search for things, learn new things. Figure out how to mold this truth from an ace, which is only potential and possibility, and a Page of Swords, which is the most naive, immature version of the swords court cards. Figure out how to mold that into the King of Swords, into the Queen of Swords, into those higher registers and higher vibrations of that sword's energy. Okay. You may want to talk to your children if you have children, especially if you have an air sign child, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Some of you guys may want to start to question more things, because I feel like whoever this is, when it comes to love and relationships in your life, it's like they're trying to distract you from putting two and two together. They're trying to confuse you and distort the energy and like jumble up things to where you can't make the math. They don't want you to figure out their strategy. Their strategy is to confuse you and distract you from what they're really doing. It's like a magician who uses illusions and distractions to divert your focus onto this hand when he's doing something with the other hand, right? And I think that's what you need to understand that's why you keep getting caught in this loop with this person over and over, because they never want you to figure them out. They never want you to figure out what they're doing. They always want you to question what is so-and-so doing. They want Libra to always question what so-and-so is doing. What am I doing over here? What are they doing over there? Why are they saying this? Why are they saying that? So that you stay up all night trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, when in reality you're dealing with an idiot. You get what I'm saying? Because they're not even really like proficient. They're very sloppy, okay? Page of Swords is the Six of Swords and the Six of Wands. That's actually really good. Okay, so in order for there to be success when it comes to you accomplishing your goals and finally like being able to take advantage of the harvest that comes from the seeds you plant, you have to look ahead of you and pay attention to where you're going. You can't look to the past. So this relationship and love section could be talking about something that happened in the past, trying to figure out why it happened, trying to balance it out, trying to figure out what someone's goal was, what was their strategy, what were they trying to accomplish, why did they do this to me? You know what I'm saying? And you keep going over and over and over and over with that in your head, and you're thinking about over and over and over and over again what this person said, and it's just keeping you in this loop, in this spiral of bullshit. I'm just letting you know. Spirit is basically saying that your best bet to gain answers and understand what someone is doing is to pay attention to where you're going. That's what it feels like to me, to look ahead, don't look behind you. I also feel like you're going to, like, the more successful you are, the more you're able to overcome obstacles, the more you're able to move on from what this person did to kind of like distract you, the more you're going to understand their strategy or why they had this strategy. Is because what their strategy really was to keep you distracted so that you wouldn't focus on what it is that you need to do, and therefore you would not make any progress. Whoever this is doesn't want you to make progress. They want you to keep having all of these false starts. Starting and then getting discouraged and stopping. Starting and then having to deal with the problem and stopping. It's like if you start to work on a car engine and you keep having other customers come into your lot needing you to give them oil changes. You're never going to be able to finish the engine. If you're working from home and your kids constantly keep interrupting you during a project that you have to finish, it's going to take you longer to finish the project. That's what this is about. That's what this person did. If they could distract you and cause interference like fucking electricity outages, lawnmowers, whatever the fuck is going on, if they could do that, then you would never get to the finish line. They could never stop you from finishing. All they could do was delay you. And they know that. All they could do was delay you. And if they could cause enough stress and anxiety and burdens in your life to where you pick up alcoholism, or you overindulge in weed, or you smoke a bunch of cigarettes, or you popping pills, or you're doing something else even more serious, then they can continue to delay everything that it is that you're supposed to receive when it comes to you focusing and accomplishing your goals. Because they're just going to get louder like this lawnmower. What else does Libra need to know when it comes to this month? Spirit. Yeah, lust in reverse. Greed by any means necessary, inconsiderate. So I feel like Spirit is telling you not to be this way. Don't be greedy. Don't be lustful. Don't be overindulgent. It doesn't even have to be sexual. It could just be like overindulgence. This Nine of Cups energy. I feel like be very mindful of that. Like trying to get things perfect could also be a problem as well. Like feeling like things are supposed to be perfect, trying to get things to be perfect could create a problem in your life, and Spirit is telling you not to do that, okay? Because that could be being greedy. It's like somebody who keeps going back to the plastic surgeon, and then before they know it, they look like the Saw doll, okay? They looking like Saw in the face, like Laura Loomer. And you can't tell if the bitch is 25 or 40, okay? That's what comes with that. That's what comes with that greed, that greedy energy, that lustful energy, that insatiable, desire to have something be perfect or to have something be a certain way. And before you know it, you're, left with Michael Jackson nose, with nothing. Okay? Burning Bridges says lack of trust, disloyal, turn back on. And envy, resentful, competitive, discontent. See what I'm saying? That energy will have you somewhere looking like, look at her nose. Look at her nose. Don't that look like I'm not saying her nose is ugly because the girl don't look ugly. But the way they got it lit up like that, it looks like the Michael Jackson nose. It's like if you're not careful, if you keep gambling with something, or if you keep playing around with fire, you're going to get burned in a situation. And I don't want you guys to, get burned. It kind of feels like Spirit is trying to prevent you from getting burned. You got Pisces, Leo, and Sag. When it comes to the energy out here, Leo is also on the Wheel of Fortune, but there's additionally Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. There's a lot of Pisces energy out here. A lot of water energy. What else does Libra need to know when it comes to this month? Jumping to conclusions. You may be jumping to conclusions without all of the information, right? So they want you to ask more questions. They want you to figure out how can you become more informed? How can you be more equipped mentally? How can you have more of a strategy legally and communicatively? Like, I feel like there's this subconscious fear of what's going to happen because you don't have all the information. I think that's what this Page of Swords is saying. It's like, in order to be successful, you have to move on with the information. You have to move forward and continue moving forward with the information that you have, and you'll gain more along the way to understand how to avoid a disaster. You can't be afraid of the disaster before the disaster comes. And I think in your subconscious, I don't know if somebody is causing you to be nervous and saying things to you that make you nervous, or if this is a situation where you're just assuming the worst. But like I said in the beginning, don't be scared, be prepared. And Spirit doesn't want you to jump to conclusions thinking that something is going to go down a certain way when you don't even have all of the details. You don't even know what's going to happen, because I kind of feel like there's this energy where, like, if your power is cut off, or if power is removed and you can't do something the way that you've been doing it, you don't have the power, you don't have the authority to do whatever you've been doing, or some type of privileges get revoked. If you assume the worst, it's going to make you spiral into this, like, very defensive mentality where you could do something to further hurt your situation. Okay. Life purpose. Find your life purpose. And signs and symbolism. Watch for the signs in the universe. Yeah. So this has to do with what you're ultimately meant to do on this planet. Whatever's going on this month is very significantly connected to your destiny, Wheel of Fortune. And I feel like Spirit is going to send you a lot of signs to let you know what's going on. But they also want you to understand, like, if you go off the deep end with people, or you go jump into conclusions about things, and you get into that envious, jealous, Five of Swords energy, and you start to go off on people, and you don't even know, like, whether or not they're really on your team or not, you could make things worse for yourself than what they already are. Kind of like the Mad King in Game of Thrones, right? Burn them all, burn them all, burn them all. Like, everybody is the problem. Everybody is an enemy. That's not true. Spirit is saying you have allies. You have support. You may also have people who are trying to mess with your head and fuck with your head. But what you have to remember is how to keep yourself leveled. And not let other people trigger you so that you don't dig a deeper hole for yourself, okay? And they don't want you to get swallowed up in whatever's going on. Because the more you keep gambling, the more greedy you are, the more likely you are to encounter a situation where your luck runs out. Okay? Advice for Libra. Insight came out in reverse. It says, insight is the fruit of wisdom. Keep a learning attitude. Yeah, that's this Page of Swords. I'm telling you. Spirit wants you to learn from this, or be able to find the wisdom in the situation. What's the silver lining? What's the ultimate lesson? What's the bigger picture? Because if not, you're just going to be recklessly swinging this sword around and it's not going to make no sense. And there's something interfering with you being able to hear these messages from spirit. This is not a coincidence that this man is riding around on a riding mower on cement. You get what I'm saying? There's a parking lot out there. There is literally nothing for this motherfucker to be cutting. For him to be loud like this for almost an hour. I'm telling you. Someone doesn't want you to transform into the more mature version of yourself, into the more enlightened version of yourself, into the more ascended version of yourself, into the more aligned version of yourself. They're trying to distract you from that. And the more you can look at situations as a learning experience, the better off you're going to be. Hope. Okay, look to the sun. It says hope is a beam of light in the darkness. Yeah, be hopeful, be positive. Growth. Growth is a journey. Trust each step, right? And that insight card came out in reverse. So it's kind of like leaning me towards believing that you're trying to figure out why something is happening. Because it's like you're coming at it from maybe like a victim mentality. Like, why is this happening to me? Why is this? Why is that? I didn't do nothing. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Everybody always coming for me. But that mentality is mutating into this energy, or it's mirroring this energy of envy and jealousy. The victim mentality can also look like the Five of Swords. And I'm allowing this to keep going instead of stopping the reading because I want you to get the imagery that Spirit is trying to show you. The Five of Swords is not just somebody wanting to win at all costs and being an asshole. It's also people who think that they're a victim all the time. And I feel like you guys aren't able to learn from this because that is drowning out your ability to hear what Spirit is telling you. And now it's gotten more quiet. So I hope you enjoyed this message. I hope it helped you guys. Please be sure to like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. If you feel like you gained something from this message, please consider donating using the PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle below. If you want to book a reading, that link is below as well. It's really helpful, you guys, just to engage with the content. Let me know in the comments if it resonated, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, Libra.